everybody! In this video, I want to give a quick demonstration of one of my favorite chocolate chip cookie recipes. It's super easy and quick to make and makes the most perfect soft and chewy cookie. All you're going to need for this recipe is 2 3/4 cups of flour, a teaspoon of cornstarch, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt, which I've put together in this small bowl. You're going to need 1 cup of unsalted cold cubed butter, 3/4 cup of light brown sugar packed together. You're also going to need 2/3 cup of granulated sugar, as well as 1 egg and an extra egg yolk at room temperature. Additionally, you're going to need 1 tablespoon of vanilla. For me, I used a vanilla bourbon paste, but you can use whichever you have on hand. Lastly, you're going to need 2 1/4 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. You can also use some flaky sea salt to top it off if you want. To start, we're going to preheat our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and line 2 baking sheets with parchment paper. Then, in the bowl of our stand mixer, we're going to add the butter, the granulated sugar, and the packed light brown sugar. After it's all together, we're going to move over to our stand mixer and gradually increase the speed for about 4 to 5 minutes, or until the butter-sugar mix is pale and fluffy without any chunks of butter remaining. Next step is to add the egg and the egg yolk. Careful, we're only doing it though one at a time, ensuring that we're scraping the sides of the bowl after each addition. Then it's going to be followed with the vanilla. You can use, again, any kind of vanilla you'd like. For this, I'm using a vanilla bourbon paste, which is a bit thicker, so I had to scrape down the sides to get it all in. In a separate bowl, we're going to combine the flour, the baking soda, the cornstarch, the salt, and whisk it all together. We're then going to add half of the flour mixture to the butter mix on a low speed until it's just combined, repeating using the second half of the mix. Make sure it's just combined though, we don't want to overmix the dough. Finally, using the last of our ingredients, we're going to add all of the chocolate chips in at once, mixing that for about 10 seconds. Again, careful not to overmix the dough. Using a cookie scoop, or just a spoon if you don't have one, scoop the dough into balls, rolling them in your hands and then placing the dough onto one of the pre-lined cookie sheets. We're putting the dough about 2 to 3 inches apart from one another. Make sure to work fast though with the dough in your hands so it doesn't become too warm. Feel free to add a few extra chocolate chips onto the top of the cookies before putting them in the oven. Once they're going into the oven, they're going to go in for about 9 to 10 minutes. You'll know the cookies are done when the edges are set and golden brown. Don't worry if the center seems a little pale or undercooked, that's how they're supposed to be. However, if you like your cookies a little more on the chewy side, a little more crumbly if you will, leave them in for a bit longer until the whole thing becomes a bit more brown. Allow the cookies to sit for about 5 to 10 minutes on the baking sheet after they're out of the oven. Remember, leave them on the sheet before transferring them to a wire cooling rack. Once the cookies have cooled down, you can then sprinkle some flaky sea salt just to add a bit more flavor on top of them. And there you have it, a perfect, soft and chewy chocolate chip cookie.